3 months after Luna's discovery, she found herself aboard the exploration ship Meridian, traveling through the dark void between stars. The ship was humanity's most advanced vessel, built specifically for long-distance exploration. Captain Rose Bennett, a tough woman with short gray hair and steady hands, commanded a crew of 43 specialists. Luna had never been on a ship this large before. The Meridian was over 800 meters long, with multiple decks and advanced technology that still amazed her. Her quarters were small but comfortable, with a window that showed the endless starfield outside. Sometimes she would sit and stare at the stars, wondering which one held the answers to her family's past. The journey to Kepler 442 would take 6 months, even with their fastest engines. Luna spent most of her time working with the ship's computer systems, trying to decode more messages from the signal. Each day she discovered new layers of meaning hidden in the transmission. The language was complex and beautiful, unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Dr. Amy Clark, the ship's expert on ancient civilizations, worked closely with Luna. Amy was a small woman with bright red hair and an infectious enthusiasm for solving mysteries. She helped Luna understand the cultural meanings behind the alien words. "Look at this," Amy said one day, pointing to symbols on her screen. "These patterns suggest a society that valued balance and harmony. They were not conquerors. They were builders and teachers." Luna nodded, but something troubled her. Then why did they disappear? If they were so advanced and peaceful, what happened to them? "That's what we're going to find out," Amy replied. Commander Kate Sullivan was responsible for the ship's security. She was a tall, strong woman who always carried herself like a soldier ready for battle. Kate did not trust the alien signal and made no secret of her concerns. "We're flying toward a dead civilization with nothing but an alien message to guide us," Kate said during one of their weekly briefings. "For all we know, this could be a trap." Captain Bennett understood Kate's worries, but she believed the mission was worth the risk. "The potential benefits outweigh the dangers, Commander. If this civilization was as advanced as our scans suggest, their technology could help solve many of humanity's problems." Luna tried to stay focused on her work, but strange things began happening during the journey. She started having vivid dreams that felt more like memories than imagination. In these dreams, she walked through a magnificent city made of crystal and light. Beautiful beings that looked like idealized elves moved through wide streets using technology that seemed like magic. The dreams showed her glimpses of this civilization's history. They called themselves Etherians, and they had built an empire that spanned hundreds of star systems. They were scientists, artists, and philosophers who had mastered the secrets of the universe. But the dreams also showed her something dark, a great war that ended with their entire civilization choosing death over defeat. Luna began to notice changes in herself during the journey. Her senses became sharper, and she could hear sounds that others could not. When she touched the ship's computer systems, she sometimes felt a strange connection, as if the machines were responding to her thoughts rather than her commands. One day, while Luna was working in the computer lab, every screen in the room suddenly activated without her touching anything. Alien symbols flowed across the displays, forming patterns that Luna somehow understood. The message was simple but chilling. The daughter awakens. The time of return approaches. Maya, who had been allowed to join the mission as Luna's research partner, witnessed the entire event. "Luna, how did you do that? You weren't even touching the controls." Luna stared at her hands, frightened by what had just happened. "I don't know. I was just thinking about the signal, and suddenly the computers started responding." "We need to tell Captain Bennett about this," Maya said. When they reported the incident, Captain Bennett gathered the senior staff for an emergency meeting. Luna demonstrated her new ability, showing how she could activate ship systems with just her thoughts. The crew watched in amazement and concern as screens lit up and machines responded to Luna's mental commands. "This is unprecedented," Dr. Clark said. "Luna, you're developing some kind of psychic connection with our technology." Commander Sullivan was less impressed. "This proves my point. We don't know what we're dealing with. Luna is changing and we have no idea if it's safe." Luna felt scared and isolated by the crew's reaction. She had not asked for these strange abilities, and she did not understand why they were happening. But she knew they were connected to her destination and the mysterious civilization that had sent the signal. 2 weeks later, the Meridian encountered its first real danger. While passing through a region of space controlled by the Zephyrian Empire, they were intercepted by 3 alien warships. The Zephyrians were a militaristic species known for claiming salvage rights to any ancient technology they could find. Captain Bennett tried to negotiate, explaining that they were on a scientific mission, but the Zephyrian commander, speaking through a translation device, made his intentions clear. You travel to the dead world of the ancients. This makes you salvagers, and all salvage in this region belongs to the Zephyrian Empire. Surrender your ship or be destroyed. The Meridian was fast but not designed for combat. The 3 Zephyrian ships were heavily armed military vessels that could easily destroy them. Captain Bennett had few options, and none of them were good. That was when Luna made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. She went to the bridge and placed her hands on the ship's main computer console. Closing her eyes, she reached out with her mind toward the Zephyrian ships. "Luna, what are you doing?" Captain Bennett asked. "Something I hope I don't regret," Luna replied. She felt her consciousness expand beyond the Meridian, touching the electronic systems of the enemy ships. The Zephyrian technology was different from human designs, but somehow Luna understood how it worked. With a thought, she began shutting down their weapon systems. On the main screen, they watched as the Zephyrian ships suddenly went dark. Their weapons powered down, their engines stopped, and their communications went silent. The alien vessels drifted helplessly in space while their crews tried to figure out what had happened. "Impossible," Captain Bennett whispered. Luna opened her eyes, looking pale and exhausted. "We need to leave now before they figure out how to restart their systems." The Meridian jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the disabled Zephyrian ships behind. But Luna knew they had made enemies. The Zephyrians would remember what happened, and they would want revenge. "How did you do that?" Commander Sullivan asked. "You shut down 3 military ships without even touching them." Luna sat down heavily in a chair, her hands shaking. "I could feel their computers, their systems. It was like they were part of me. I knew exactly which circuits to disconnect." Dr. Clark studied the sensor readings from the encounter. "Luna, the energy patterns around you during that event were off the charts. You're generating some kind of field that interfaces directly with electronic systems. But that should be impossible," Maya said. "No known species has that ability." "Maybe no known species," Luna replied quietly. "But what about unknown ones?" As the days passed, Luna's abilities continued to grow stronger. She could now access any computer system on the ship without physical contact. She began having more detailed dreams about the Etherian civilization, learning about their technology and culture. The dreams showed her how to manipulate energy fields and communicate with machines through thought alone. But the dreams also revealed something troubling. The Etherians had not simply died out. They had been hunted by something terrible, something that consumed entire civilizations. In her visions, Luna saw great battles in space, planets being destroyed, and the Etherians making a desperate final stand. When the Meridian finally reached the Kepler 442 system, Luna stood on the bridge and stared at their destination. The planet hung in space like a blue and green jewel, its surface covered by what looked like geometric patterns visible even from orbit. "My God," Dr. Clark whispered. "Look at those structures. They're enormous." The entire planet was covered with crystalline cities that gleamed in the light of the system's twin stars. Even from space, it was clear that this civilization had been incredibly advanced. But there were no energy signatures, no radio transmissions, no signs of life. "It's beautiful," Luna said softly, "and completely dead." Captain Bennett ordered a cautious approach. As they drew closer, the ship's sensors detected massive automated defense systems surrounding the planet. Ancient weapons platforms hung in orbit, their surfaces dark and inactive. "Those defense satellites are still intact," Commander Sullivan reported. They look like they're just sleeping. Luna felt a strange pull as they approached the planet. Something was calling to her, something deep in those crystal cities. She could feel the planet systems becoming aware of their presence. "Captain," Luna said urgently, "I think the planet knows we're here." As if responding to her words, the ancient defense platforms suddenly came to life. Lights appeared along their surfaces, and weapons systems began powering up. The platforms moved to intercept the Meridian, their targeting systems locking onto the human ship. Luna Mitchell stared at the computer screen in her small office on Titan Research Station. Her pointed ears twitched slightly as she studied the strange patterns flowing across the monitor. For 3 weeks, she had been working on this mysterious signal that came from deep space. Most people would have given up by now, but Luna was not most people. She was half-elf, which made her different from the other scientists on the station. Her mother had been a full elf, with the long life and strange abilities that came with elven blood. Her father was human, a simple man who had fallen in love with her mother's otherworldly beauty. Luna got the best of both worlds. Her mother's sharp mind and magical heritage, and her father's determination and curiosity. The signal had been discovered by accident 3 weeks ago. It was hidden in the background noise that filled space, so quiet that their computers almost missed it completely. But something about it caught Luna's attention. The pattern was too perfect, too organized to be natural. It reminded her of language, but not any language she knew. Luna rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of coffee. She had been working for 16 hours straight, trying to decode what the signal meant. Her colleague Maya Torres had already gone home, telling Luna to get some rest. But Luna could not sleep when a mystery this big was sitting right in front of her. She ran the signal through another translation program, this one designed for ancient Earth languages. Nothing. She tried mathematical patterns, still nothing. Then she had an idea that seemed crazy, but she was running out of options. Luna pulled up her own medical files and looked at her DNA sequence. Every person had a unique genetic code, like a fingerprint made of biological information. She had always known her elven DNA was unusual. There were markers in her genetic code that scientists could not explain, sequences that did not match any known Earth species. Her hands shook slightly as she began comparing her DNA to the signal pattern. At first, nothing matched. But then, she noticed something that made her heart stop. A small section of the signal was almost identical to a part of her genetic code. Not similar. Identical. Luna stood up so fast that her chair rolled backward and hit the wall. This was impossible. Signals from space did not contain human DNA, and this signal was coming from the Kepler 442 system, over 1,200 light-years away from Earth. She ran the comparison again, checking every detail 3 times. The match was perfect. A 27 base pair sequence in the signal was exactly the same as a part of her elven genetic markers. The odds of this happening by chance were so small that her calculator could not even display the number. Luna's mind raced as she tried to understand what this meant. She thought about her grandmother's stories, tales that her family had always treated as fantasy. Her grandmother had claimed that their elven ancestors came from the stars, that they were the children of the void who had traveled to Earth long ago. Luna had always thought these were just fairy tales. But what if they were not? She called Maya Torres even though it was past midnight. Maya answered on the 3rd ring, sounding sleepy and annoyed. "Luna, what are you doing? It's almost 1 in the morning. Maya, you need to come to the lab right now. I found something incredible." "Can it wait until tomorrow?" "No, it can't, Maya. The signal contains my DNA." There was silence on the other end of the line. Then Maya spoke, her voice now fully awake. "What did you just say?" "My genetic code. Part of it is in the signal. This is not a coincidence, Maya. Something out there knows who I am." Maya arrived at the lab 20 minutes later, her dark hair messy from sleep, but her eyes bright with curiosity. She was Luna's best friend, and the only person who truly understood Luna's work. As a computer expert, Maya could verify Luna's findings using different methods. "Show me," Maya said, sitting down at her workstation. Luna explained what she had discovered, walking Maya through each step of the analysis. Maya ran her own tests using completely different software and approaches. Every test gave the same result. The signal definitely contained genetic information that matched Luna's elven DNA. "This is incredible," Maya whispered, staring at the data. "But Luna, what does it mean? How is this possible?" Luna had been thinking about that question for hours. "I think someone or something is calling me home." "Home? Luna, you were born on Earth." "Was I? Or was Earth just where my family ended up after running away from somewhere else?" Maya looked at her friend with concern. "You're talking about aliens, Luna. You're saying that elves are actually aliens. I'm saying that maybe the stories my grandmother told were not just stories. She always said our family was different, that we came from the stars. What if she was telling the truth?" They worked together for the rest of the night trying to decode more of the signal. As the sun rose over Titan's icy surface, they made another discovery. The signal was not random, it was a message, and when they finally translated it, the words made Luna's blood run cold. "The heir returns, the throne awaits, come home, daughter of stars." Maya stared at the translation, her face pale. "Luna, this sounds like someone is expecting you." Luna nodded, her pointed ears trembling slightly. "Maya, I think I'm in trouble. Big trouble." The next morning, Luna requested a meeting with Dr. Patricia Williams, the head of the research station. Dr. Williams was a serious woman who did not believe in wasting time on impossible theories. But when Luna showed her the evidence, even Dr. Williams could not argue with the facts. "This is beyond anything we have ever encountered," Dr. Williams said, studying the data. "If this is real, it changes everything we know about human history." "What do we do?" Luna asked. "We contact Earth Command. This is too big for just our station to handle." Within hours, the news had reached the highest levels of human government. Scientists, military officers, and politicians all wanted to know more about the half-elf woman who seemed to be connected to an alien civilization. Luna sat in her small quarters that evening, looking out at the stars and wondering what she had started. Somewhere out there, something was waiting for her. Something that knew her DNA, knew her family, and thought she was important enough to send a message across 1,200 light-years of space. She touched the small elven pendant her grandmother had given her years ago. It had always felt warm, against her skin, but now it seemed to pulse with a strange energy. Luna had a feeling that her quiet life as a research scientist was about to end forever. The Meridian landed in a clearing near the largest crystal city on the planet. As the landing ramp lowered, Luna took her first breath of alien air. It tasted clean and fresh, with a slight metallic tang that reminded her of ozone after a thunderstorm. The city stretched out before them like something from a fairy tale. Towers of pure crystal reached toward the sky, connected by bridges that seemed to be made of solid light. The streets were wide and empty, but perfectly maintained. Everything gleamed as if it had been built yesterday, not thousands of years ago. "The air is breathable," Dr. Clark reported, checking her instruments. "The atmospheric composition is almost identical to Earth." Captain Bennett organized the landing party carefully. Luna, Maya, Dr. Clark, and Commander Sullivan would explore the city center, while the rest of the crew remained with the ship. They wore full environmental suits despite the clean air, because nobody knew what other dangers might be waiting. As soon as Luna stepped onto the crystal street, something incredible happened. Lights began appearing throughout the city, starting where she stood and spreading outward like ripples in a pond. Building after building came to life, their surfaces glowing with soft, warm light. "Luna, you're activating the entire city," Maya said in amazement. Luna looked around in wonder as the dead city awakened around her. She could feel something responding to her presence, something vast and ancient that had been sleeping for millennia. The crystal beneath her feet felt warm and alive, as if it recognized her. They walked through empty streets toward the city center. As they moved deeper into the city, more systems came online. Holographic displays appeared in the air, showing images and symbols that Luna somehow understood. The displays showed maps, star charts, and what looked like historical records. "It's like the city is trying to teach us," Dr. Clark observed. "These holograms are explaining their history and culture." At the heart of the city stood a magnificent, palace made of the clearest crystal Luna had ever seen. It rose from the ground like a natural formation, its walls so transparent that she could see right through to the other side. As they approached, the palace doors opened silently, inviting them inside. The interior was breathtaking. The walls, floor, and ceiling were all made of the same clear crystal, creating the feeling of walking through air. Light flowed through, the structure in patterns that changed and shifted like living things. At the center of the palace was a circular chamber with a raised platform in the middle. On the platform sat a throne made of what looked like crystallized starlight. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time, radiating power that Luna could feel in her bones. Above the throne, a holographic figure appeared, a tall, elegant being that looked like a perfected version of an elf. "Welcome home, daughter of the stars," the figure said in a voice that spoke directly into their minds. "I am the keeper of the eternal throne. I have waited 10,000 years for your return." Luna stepped forward, her heart pounding. "Who are you? What is this place?" "I am the last guardian of the Etherian Empire," the keeper replied. "This was our capital world, the heart of a civilization that spanned 1,000 star systems. And you, Luna Mitchell, are the heir to our throne." "That's impossible," Commander Sullivan interrupted. "She's human. Well, half human." The keeper turned its attention to the security officer. "She carries the royal bloodline of the Etherian Empire. When our civilization faced extinction, we sent our genetic legacy to safe worlds across the galaxy. Her ancestors were among those who carried our future to distant stars." Luna felt overwhelmed by the revelation. "But I don't understand. Why did your empire fall? What happened here?" The keeper's expression grew sad. "We were destroyed by our own success. Our technology became so advanced that we attracted the attention of something ancient and hungry, a force that consumes civilizations when they become too powerful. We called it the Void Swarm." Images appeared in the air around them, showing the final war of the Etherian Empire. Luna watched in horror as massive dark ships swept through space, destroying entire star systems. The Etherians fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. Rather than let our knowledge fall into the wrong hands, we chose to destroy ourselves and our enemy together, the keeper continued. But before we died, we planted the seeds of our return. We scattered our genetic code across the galaxy, hoping that one day an heir would come back to claim what we left behind. The keeper gestured toward the crystal throne. "This is the crown of stars, the device that controlled our entire empire. With it, you can command all the technology we left hidden throughout the galaxy. You can restore the Etherian Empire and bring peace to all worlds." Luna approached the throne cautiously. She could feel power radiating from it like heat from a fire. The crystal seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat, calling to something deep inside her genetic code. "What's the catch?" Maya asked suspiciously. There's always a catch with this kind of power. The keeper hesitated before answering. "To fully bond with the crown of stars, the heir must undergo the awakening. Your human nature will be burned away, leaving only the Etherian consciousness within. You will become immortal and gain access to abilities beyond imagination, but your humanity will be lost forever." Luna stepped back from the throne as if it had tried to bite her. "You want me to stop being human?" "Not stop being human," the keeper corrected. "Become something greater. The Etherians were what your species will evolve into given enough time. The crown will simply accelerate that process." Dr. Clark was studying the readings on her equipment. "Luna, the energy coming from that throne is incredible. It's not just technology. It's something that operates on principles we don't understand." "Commander," Sullivan moved closer to Luna protectively. "This sounds dangerous. We don't know what this thing will do to you." Luna stared at the crown, torn between fear and fascination. She could feel it calling to her, promising power beyond her wildest dreams. With that throne, she could help humanity solve all its problems. She could end wars, cure diseases, and bring prosperity to every world. But the price was her humanity itself. "Show me," Luna said finally. "Show me what the Empire was like at its height." The keeper nodded and waved its hand. The chamber around them disappeared, replaced by a vision of the Etherean Empire in its golden age. Luna saw worlds of impossible beauty, where technology and nature existed in perfect harmony. Cities floated in the clouds, starships sailed between planets like sailing ships on the ocean, and the Etherians themselves lived lives of peace and prosperity. We eliminated poverty, disease, and war, the keeper explained. Our citizens lived for thousands of years, spending their time in artistic and scientific pursuits. We were gardeners of the galaxy, helping younger species develop and grow. It's beautiful, Luna whispered. It can be again, the keeper said, but only if you take up the crown. Only the true heir can activate the dormant technology we left behind. Maya grabbed Luna's arm. Think about this carefully. Once you put that thing on, there's probably no going back. Luna looked at her friends, seeing the concern in their eyes. She thought about her life on Earth, her work, her relationships. If she accepted the crown, all of that would be gone. She would become something else entirely, something that might not even care about the people she left behind. But she also thought about all the good she could do, the problems she could solve, the lives she could save. Was her humanity worth more than the future of the entire galaxy? I need time to think, Luna said. The keeper nodded. Of course, but do not take too long. Other forces in the galaxy have sensed the awakening of this world. They will come seeking the power for themselves, and they will not be as patient as I am. As if summoned by the keeper's words, Commander Sullivan's radio crackled to life. It was Captain Bennett's voice, tense with urgency. Away team, we have a problem. Our sensors are detecting multiple ships approaching the system. It looks like a whole fleet. Luna's heart sank. She had hoped they would have more time to understand what they had found. But now it seemed like the galaxy was coming to them, whether they were ready or not. Who are they? Commander Sullivan asked. We're reading at least 3 different species, Captain Bennett replied. And they're all heading straight for us. Luna looked at the crystal throne one more time. Soon she would have to make a choice that would change not just her life, but the fate of the entire galaxy. The question was, did she have the courage to sacrifice her humanity for the greater good? Or was there another way, a path that would let her keep what made her human while still helping the galaxy find peace? The crown pulsed with starlight, waiting for her decision. The approaching fleets arrived within hours of each other, turning the empty space around the crystal world into a battlefield waiting to happen. Luna stood in the palace's highest tower, watching through the transparent walls as dozens of ships took positions in orbit above them. The Zephyrian Empire has brought 12 battleships, Captain Bennett reported over the radio. The Hive Collective has at least 20 ships, and there are 3 human vessels from different colonies. They're all demanding that we surrender you and the alien technology. Luna felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on her shoulders. Every major power in known space had sent ships to claim what the Etherians had left behind, and she was the key to all of it. Maya stood beside her, watching the light show of ships maneuvering in space. How did they find out so quickly? Word travels fast when it involves ancient alien technology, Dr. Clark said grimly. Everyone wants to be the next dominant power in the galaxy. The keeper appeared beside them, its holographic form flickering with what looked like worry. This is what we feared when we designed the crown. Too much power in the wrong hands could recreate the conditions that summoned the Void Swarm. Luna turned away from the window. Tell me more about this Void Swarm. What exactly is it? The keeper gestured and images appeared in the air around them. Luna saw creatures that looked like living darkness, ships that seemed to be made of empty space itself, and weapons that could destroy entire star systems. The Void Swarm is not a normal species, the keeper explained. It is a force of nature, like a storm or an earthquake. It appears whenever a civilization becomes too advanced, too powerful. We believe it exists to prevent any one race from dominating the galaxy completely. But you were peaceful, Dr. Clark protested. You weren't trying to conquer anyone. Peace is not what matters to the Void Swarm, the keeper replied. Only power. When we reached a certain level of technological advancement, We triggered its attention. It came to eliminate us, just as it has eliminated countless civilizations before us. Commander Sullivan studied the tactical displays showing the ships above. So if Luna uses this crown to restore your empire, she might bring back this void swarm? It is possible, the keeper admitted. That is why the decision must be made carefully. Luna felt a growing frustration. Every choice seemed to lead to disaster. If she took the crown, she might doom the galaxy to face the void swarm again. If she refused it, these fleets would fight over the technology and probably destroy each other. There has to be another way, she said. Over the next few days, Luna experimented with her growing abilities while the situation in space grew more tense. She discovered she could interface with any part of the city's systems, accessing information that had been stored for thousands of years. The more she learned, the more complex the situation became. The Etherian Empire had not been as perfect as the Keeper made it seem. Luna found records of rebellions, political struggles, and moral compromises. The Etherians had made mistakes just like any other species. Their technology was incredibly advanced, but it had not solved all their problems. Maya helped Luna research the crown itself, trying to understand exactly how it worked. What they discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. It's not just a control device, Maya explained. It's designed to merge with the user's consciousness. Once you put it on, you become part of the technology network that controlled the entire empire. But that means Luna would lose her individual identity, Dr. Clark said. She would become a living computer program. Luna touched the crown carefully, feeling the energy that flowed through it. What if I could modify it somehow, change the way it works? The Keeper looked shocked. Modify the crown of stars? That would be incredibly dangerous. The device was created by our greatest scientists over thousands of years. Your greatest scientists are dead, Luna pointed out, and their perfect plan led to the destruction of your entire civilization. Maybe it's time to try a different approach. While Luna worked on understanding the crown, the situation in space continued to deteriorate. The different fleets were getting tired of waiting, and small skirmishes had already broken out. Captain Bennett reported that the human colonial ships were demanding that Luna return to Earth immediately. They're saying you're too dangerous to be left on your own, Captain Bennett explained. The Colonial Authority wants to study you and the technology in a controlled environment. Luna laughed bitterly. They want to lock me up and turn me into a weapon. Commander Sullivan coordinated the planet's defenses as the various fleets began making threats. The ancient Etherian defense systems were incredibly powerful, but they were not designed to fight multiple enemies at once. We can hold them off, for a while, Sullivan reported. But if they all decide to attack at the same time, we'll be overwhelmed. That night, Luna had the most vivid dream yet. She saw the final days of the Etherian Empire, when the Void Swarm first appeared. The dark ships had emerged from empty space without warning, attacking every Etherian world simultaneously. But in the dream, Luna noticed something the Keeper had not told her. The Void Swarm had not attacked because the Etherians were too powerful. It had attacked because they were using their power wrongly, trying to control other species instead of helping them grow. Luna woke up with a new understanding. The problem was not power itself, but how that power was used. The Etherians had failed because they tried to create an empire based on control. What the galaxy needed was not another empire, but a partnership. The next morning, Luna announced her decision to the Keeper and her friends. I'm going to take the crown, she said, but not the way you expect. The Keeper looked confused. What do you mean? Luna walked to the throne and placed her hands on the crystal crown. She could feel its power calling to her, trying to merge with her consciousness. But instead of accepting the merger, she began to push back, using her growing abilities to rewrite the crown's basic programming. Luna, what are you doing? Maya asked in alarm. I'm changing the rules, Luna replied through gritted teeth. The mental effort was enormous, like trying to reprogram a computer while it was running at full speed. The crown was designed to create an emperor. I'm turning it into something that creates a teacher instead. The crown fought her changes, its ancient programming resisting modification. But Luna's unique combination of human creativity and elven intuition gave her an advantage the original designers had not anticipated. Slowly, painfully, she began to alter the fundamental nature of the device. "This is incredibly dangerous," the keeper warned. "You could destroy yourself and the crown." "Better than destroying the galaxy," Luna gasped. Dr. Clark watched the energy readings spike on her instruments. "Luna, the power levels are going through the roof. I don't think the system can handle much more." But Luna did not stop. She could feel the crown's programming changing, becoming something new and different. Instead of demanding total control, it was learning to share power. Instead of creating an empire, it was becoming a tool for cooperation. Finally, with a flash of brilliant light, the transformation was complete. Luna lifted the crown and placed it on her head, feeling its modified consciousness merge with her own. The change was immediate but different from what the keeper had described. Luna felt her abilities expand dramatically, but she remained herself. She could access the technological network of the ancient empire, but she was not controlled by it. She had become something unprecedented, a bridge between species rather than a ruler over them. Outside the palace, the entire planet began to change. The crystal cities came fully alive, their systems activating for the first time in millennia. But instead of military preparations, they began producing something else entirely. "What's happening?" Commander Sullivan asked. Luna smiled, her eyes now glowing with a soft starlight. "I'm sending a message to every ship in orbit. It's time to stop fighting and start talking." Above them in space, every ship in the gathered fleets received the same transmission simultaneously. It was not a demand for surrender or a threat of destruction. It was an invitation to something that had never existed before, a galaxy-wide alliance based on shared knowledge and mutual benefit. Luna had found a third option, one that neither conquest nor surrender could provide. But would the gathered fleets accept her offer, or would they choose to fight for the power they thought they deserved? The answer would determine the fate of every living being in the galaxy. Luna's message reached every ship in the fleet at the same time. She stood in the Crystal Palace, her consciousness expanded to touch dozens of different vessels, speaking directly to their crews through their own communication systems. "I am Luna Mitchell," her voice said clearly in every language needed. "I am the heir to the Etherean Empire, but I am not your enemy. I offer you something better than conquest or destruction. I offer you partnership." The response was immediate chaos. Ship captains argued with each other over open channels, some demanding Luna's surrender, while others wanted to hear more about her proposal. The Zephyrian fleet commander was the first to respond directly. "We do not negotiate with thieves," he declared. "The technology of the ancients belongs to those strong enough to take it." Luna felt sad but not surprised. She had expected this reaction from the more militaristic species. But she had also prepared for it. "Commander Thex," she said, addressing the Zephyrian leader by name, "I can see your ship's weapon systems from here. Would you like me to demonstrate why force will not work?" Before the Zephyrian could respond, Luna reached out with her modified abilities and gently shut down the weapons on all 12 of his battleships. The process was painless and reversible, but it made her point clear. She had power beyond anything they could fight. "Your weapons will be restored when you agree to peaceful negotiations," Luna announced. The Hive Collective ships were next to respond. Their alien voice buzzed through the communication channels like angry insects. "The many who are one demand access to the technology. We will add its distinctiveness to our own," Luna sighed. The Hive Collective was even more difficult to reason with than the Zephyrians. They only understood concepts of assimilation and consumption. "I understand your desire to grow and learn," Luna told them, "but I offer you something better than taking technology by force. I offer you the chance to truly understand it." To demonstrate, Luna transmitted a small portion of Etherean knowledge directly to the Hive ships. It was a simple medical technique that could cure a disease that had plagued their species for generations. The effect was immediate. The Hive ships went silent as they processed this gift. The human ships were the most conflicted. Captain Sarah Price of the Colonial Authority vessel spoke for Earth's government. "Luna, you need to come home. You're a human citizen, and this technology needs to be studied properly by Earth scientists." Luna felt a pang of sadness at hearing Captain Price's words. She understood the fear behind them. Earth was one of the youngest civilizations in the galaxy, and they felt vulnerable compared to the older, more powerful species. "Captain Price, I am still human," Luna replied. "But I'm also something more now. I can't go back to being just a research scientist when I have the power to help the entire galaxy." Maya, standing beside Luna in the palace, spoke into her communicator. "Captain Price, this is Dr. Maya Torres. I've been working with Luna throughout this mission. She's still the same person we've always known. She's just found a way to use this power responsibly." Over the next several hours, Luna began demonstrating her proposal in practical terms. She used the planet's manufacturing systems to create small gifts for each species. Medical supplies for the humans, mineral processors for the Zephyrians, and biological enhancement technology for the Hive Collective. Each gift was carefully chosen to help with problems that species faced, but none were powerful enough to upset the balance of power in the galaxy. Luna was showing them that cooperation would benefit everyone more than conquest. Dr. Clark monitored the reactions from the various fleets. "Some of them are starting to listen," she reported. "The human ships are very interested in the medical technology you shared." Commander Sullivan remained focused on security concerns. "The Zephyrians are still demanding full access to the weapons systems, and I'm detecting more ships approaching from the outer system." Luna had expected more arrivals. News of the awakened Etherian world had spread throughout the galaxy, and every major power wanted to be involved. But she was prepared for this too. "Let them come," Luna said calmly. "The more species that join our alliance, the stronger it will become." The Keeper appeared beside her, its holographic form flickering with uncertainty. "Are you certain this approach will work? The original empire was built on strength and control, and it was destroyed because of that," Luna reminded the AI. "Fear and control only work for so long. Eventually people fight back or something stronger comes along, but cooperation can last forever." Luna spent the next week in intensive negotiations with the various fleet commanders. She invited representatives from each species to visit the planet's surface, showing them the crystal cities and explaining her vision for the future. The alliance she proposed was unlike anything that had existed before. Instead of one species ruling over others, it would be a partnership where each member contributed their unique strengths. The Etherians' technology would be shared gradually, with safeguards to prevent any single species from becoming too powerful. "We'll call it the Galactic Consortium," Luna explained to the assembled delegates in the palace's main hall. "Each member species will have equal voting rights, and all major decisions will be made collectively." The Zephyrian representative, a large warrior named General Vex, was skeptical. "What prevents one species from taking this technology and using it to conquer the others?" Luna smiled and gestured toward the crystal walls around them. "The same thing that prevents me from conquering all of you right now. The technology is programmed to shut down if it's used for aggressive purposes. I've made sure that cooperation is not just the moral choice, it's the only practical choice." Maya helped explain the technical details. "Luna has essentially created a galaxy-wide immune system. The technology will only function if it's being used to help rather than harm." The Hive Collective representative buzzed with interest. "This arrangement would allow the many who are one to grow without conflict. We find this acceptable." Captain Price looked concerned. "What about disputes between member species? How do we handle conflicts?" "The same way civilized people have always handled conflicts," Luna replied. "Through negotiation, compromise, and sometimes by agreeing to disagree. But no member of the consortium will be allowed to use violence against another member." The negotiations took another month, but eventually, representatives from 15 different species signed the consortium charter. Luna established her capital on the Crystal World, which was renamed Haven, and began the careful process of sharing Etherian technology with the galaxy. The medical advances came first. cures for diseases that had plagued various species for generations. Then came agricultural technology that could feed entire worlds, and energy systems that eliminated the need to fight over resources. But Luna was careful to introduce each advancement slowly, making sure that no single species gained too much advantage over the others. She also established strict rules about how the technology could be used. 6 months after the consortium's founding, Luna stood in her crystal palace watching as representatives from 100 different worlds conducted peaceful negotiations in the chambers below. The galaxy was far from perfect, but it was more peaceful than it had been in centuries. Maya joined her at the window, looking out at the busy spaceport that had grown up around the Crystal City. "Do you ever regret your choice?" she asked. Luna considered the question carefully. She had gained incredible power and knowledge, but she had also accepted enormous responsibility. She could never go back to her simple life as a research scientist. "Sometimes I miss the simplicity of my old life," Luna admitted. "But when I see species that were enemies working together, when I see children who will grow up in a galaxy without constant war, no, I don't regret it." Dr. Clark approached them with a datapad in her hands. "Luna, we're getting reports of a new species in the Outer Rim. They're asking to join the consortium." Luna smiled. The galaxy was full of wonders, still waiting to be discovered. As the heir to the Etherian Empire, she could have ruled through fear and power. Instead, she had chosen to lead through wisdom and cooperation. The Keeper materialized beside them, its ancient programming finally updated with new priorities. "The Void Swarm monitors from the spaces between galaxies," it reported, "but it shows no interest in our activities. We have managed to avoid the trap that destroyed the original empire." Luna nodded, but she remained vigilant. The Void Swarm was still out there, waiting for any civilization that became too powerful or too aggressive. Her job was to make sure the consortium never triggered that ancient response. "How many new applications for membership did we receive today?" Luna asked Dr. Clark. 17, Clark replied, "including 3 species we've never encountered before." Luna walked toward the main hall, her simple human clothes flowing beneath the cloak of starlight that marked her as Queen of Haven. She had work to do, decisions to make, and a galaxy to help grow into something better than it had ever been before. In the distance, the twin stars of the Kepler 442 system set behind the crystal spires of her capital city. Luna had found her home among the stars, not as a conqueror or an emperor, but as a teacher and guide.